Hey, come with us on a quick cold trip over spring break. Check out what we did, what we could have done differently, as Daniels do, the Outer Banks. This trip was our senior adult trip, as in we took my parents with us and we did a long weekend, a Thursday through Sunday. And the first thing we did on the way, so to speak, was to go to Roanoke Island. We got lunch at a place called Stripers, cute little place on the water. And then we went to the Roanoke Island Festival Park. So this place has a lot to do. It costs like $11 for adults, $8 for kids. They have the Elizabeth II boat that you can go on and check out. They have an Indian town, a settlement site that you can walk around. They have a museum that's interactive and fun. And then they even have a docudrama, which we thought didn't sound very exciting, but it was very informative. It was very good. So we enjoyed an afternoon there at the Roanoke Island Festival Park, kind of on our way to where we were staying. We went and found our condo that we had rented for the weekend and chilled for a bit before going out to dinner at the Black Pelican, which was my mother's choice and our favorite dining of the trip. The first stop we had on this day after breakfast was the Wright Brothers Memorial. They have like an indoor visitor center and museum you can go in, but the neatest thing we did is they had a ranger talk scheduled, and so we got there in time to hear that. It was very informative, very interesting, and we sat there on the steps and listened to her talk, and then we walked out a little ways into the field to see the distance of the flights that the Wright brothers took. The Wright Brothers Memorial is a long walk from where you are right there. And so if you're not up for that walk, you can go back and get in your car and drive closer to it and park. But it is also a very steep hill to climb to get up to the memorial. But we did that, and then there's also a replica of a plane over there that you can see and climb on, and that was fun. So after we visited the Wright Brothers Memorial, we went to lunch at Art's Place. It was a good burger. Small place, local place, but it was a good burger for lunch. After lunch, we went to Jockey's Ridge State Park, and that is a free activity you can do, except that we wanted to try sandboarding, so we rented one of those. It was $25, something like that, right there at Jockey's Ridge. It's a walk to get out there, and mind you, this whole weekend was cold and windy. And so they kind of put a damper on a lot of these activities that we were trying to do. It was just it was just cold. And so anyway, we walked up to the Jockey's Ridge and just tried to find some spots that didn't require us to walk too much further through sand so that we could try this sandboarding. And I guess it gave us something to do. However, it was not very successful for anybody. Addison was the one that really wanted to do it the most, and she just didn't weigh enough to make the board go. And then there weren't a lot of spots where it was steep enough for you to really get going, or it was too steep where you kind of would freak out a little bit. But it gave us something to do while we were there. It was fun. We had some good laughs, as you might can see from this entertaining sandboarding adventure. No afternoon adventure is complete without a treat, so we got some ice cream, chilled a little bit before finding our dinner. Now, another thing to note about this trip was that we had scheduled it, and then the NC State basketball team, both the men and the women's team, made it to the Final Four, and those games were this weekend. Now, we are fans of NC State. Neither of us went there, but we had to watch these games, so our dinner locations were determined on where we could find a place with TVs. So we found this place called Lucky 12 Tavern and watched the women unfortunately lose, but made it and played in the Final Four game. The nice thing about having a condo is we had a full kitchen to make us some breakfast before a very long day ahead of us. A day that we learned a lot and had some wish we would have done different plans happen. But the first thing we did was drive an hour and a half to Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. Now, it was a long drive, but mind you, a very cool drive on the Hatteras National Seashore with water surrounding you on both sides. It was really cool. We went to the Hatteras Lighthouse, which is like having this big renovation. They're not even going to be open until 2026, I think. So you couldn't go in it, and you could take pictures of it, but it had all this scaffolding and stuff around it. But we learned a lot in the little museum they have there, and we took some pictures. Hop back in the car. We drove an hour with very limited food options. We actually found a food truck with like Korean barbecue, and it was amazing. But the food options between those places are pretty limited. Our next stop was the Body Lighthouse. Now, some people say it's Bodie. I looked it up and it said Body, but the museum there was closed, so all we really did there was get out and take some pictures. We hopped back in the car and we decided to drive on up to Kerala to see that lighthouse. That was an hour drive, and it was past Kitty Hawk, which is where we were staying, but we decided to make that drive and check it out. We still had some time in our day. But of course, we also needed a treat, so we found this place called Donuts on a Stick. It was very good. Highly recommend finding that place. The Kerala Lighthouse had a very cute store that we went in, and you can climb in this lighthouse, but it cost money, and we were cheap and tired. But you can just sign up your name and then go up a few steps and look up in the lighthouse, and that was kind of cool for free. And so again, we went in the store, took some pictures, and hopped back in the car to drive back to find dinner. One thing we wish we had done differently is to gone and see the Currituck Beach Lighthouse on the afternoon that we arrived to the Outer Banks. It was only like a 45 minute drive from where we were staying, and we could have seen that lighthouse and left more time for others on this day. And we wish we had done the full Lighthouse Tour on that other day. So we wish we had gotten on the ferry and gone to the Roanoke Island. I was just thinking that was a 2-hour drive and then another hour plus ferry ride, then to have to do that all the way back. But once we got to Hatteras, we were only 30 minutes from that ferry, and so I think we wish we had scheduled to just do it that way and to see all those lighthouses in one trip. That night again, the NC State men were playing basketball, so we found another longboards bar and grill kind of place where they had TVs to watch them also unfortunately lose in the Final Four, but also very exciting that they made it there. Well, there you have it. We hope you got some tips for how to do the Outer Banks. This was our 4th grade field trip retake because one of my kids was supposed to go in the 4th grade when COVID hit. So we got to go and take the grandparents. Had a very cold but enjoyable and very educational trip to the Outer Banks. Stay tuned to see what the Daniels do.